Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today we're making with the Sweet as a Peach stamp and die set, which is this one here. Fabulous images and coordinating sentiments, always useful. The dies, peach dies, cut out the images, and things like the flowers actually they stamp as one, and there's one die to cut them out, the same with the little mini peaches. And then you've got these lovely little accent flowers as well. And I'm just making a quick gift card holder today. This one is in pale papaya with a bit of calypso coral, and it just opens up, and then you've got your gift card inside, and obviously space there to write your greeting or sentiment, and it just tucks underneath those labels. Just a bit of fun really, and really quick and easy to make. I just added a bit of ribbon for a little bit extra, and I thought I'd play around with some other colours with the peach stamp set, so I thought I'd use some petal pink cardstock, and I'd use some of my other soft succulent ribbon. So I haven't got any petal pink ribbon, so I thought actually the soft succulent was rather nice, and hopefully we'll go with that as well. So I thought I'd use that for my ribbon. So that obviously starts to dictate what colours I use. So things that you'll need: a piece of card 28 by 7 centimetres, 2 3/4 by 11 inches. This is inspired by one I saw made by Angie McKenzie of naturesinspirations.com. I can't remember how much I changed it, to be quite honest with you, but I just thought it was a really nice idea, just and a quick way to create a wrap. The basic white is 6.5 by 14.5 centimetres, 2 3/4 by 5.25 inches, and you stamp in one piece and then cut it to fit the front of the holder. So let's do our stamping first. I've got my soft succulent ink pad here, and I'm just going to stamp my images. I'm actually going to do a little bit differently, because I'm actually going to add, I'm going to try and keep the image a little bit more down at the bottom here. So let's pop that in the corner there, and it just means we can add a few more of our peaches as well, our flowers. So let's give that a go. That's probably as much as I want to do to start off with. So I used the flowers on the previous one, so I'm going to use the flowers to start off with as well. So I'm inking up in pale papaya, then I'm grabbing my calypso coral, and then I'm just going to add some little bits of the pink, and I've added a little arrow just to show me which orientation these are in. I would recommend with your photopolymer stamps trying to stand over them as much as possible. That helps you line them up. So petal pink again, just to kind of give an overall effect. I found with my early ones I didn't line them up as well, so I was constantly kind of working out which was the best way to stamp them. And what I'm going to do is then add in the calypso coral some centres to those as well. And because these are distinctive stamps, you get a lovely effect on those as well. I'm actually going to add another image in here. So I'm using my Stampin' Pierce mat to make sure that I get a good impression. Being photopolymer, you obviously want to add the cushioning in that you'd normally get with on the back of a red rubber stamp. So imagine that's the bottom part now of my stamp. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Let's have a look. And And then again, I'm just going to come in just with a little one here. So all I'm doing there is just stamping off to make sure that's clean. I don't want to contaminate my really pale petal pink with Calypso Coral. And I'm just making these flowers look quite sketchy, which is a little bit like the ones on the DSP that goes with this. There we go. And then I'm going to come in now with I think the Calypso Coral and add some flowers in those gaps. So that way, whichever bit of the paper is showing, you've got a really pretty overall pattern. Obviously it's a way of creating your own DSP as well if you wanted to. So that's my panel for the front. I now need to just stamp myself a peach to go on there as well. She says optimistically. Let's grab a piece of card. I'm just going to cut a smallish piece, just about 7.5 centimetres wide. That'll then fit into the Stampin' Pits cut and emboss machine really well. So again, same technique with the peach as with the flowers. So just ink it up with the pale papaya really well, and then add a little Calypso Coral just as you like. And when you stamp that, you get a really pretty sort of real sun blush peach there. And I'll do the same, rather I stamp the leaf using a soft succulent, one of the new in colours, and just leave enough space that you haven't got any overlapping space with the dies. Now when I use the dies, I do find it's best to add a little bit of tape just to keep them in place. So just pop that on there, and the same with the leaves as well. I find washi tape almost is too sticky, so I do find this post-it note tape works really well. So I'll pop that through my die cutting machine, mini cut and emboss. There we go, and there's, I cut one of those as well. So what I do need to do now is stamp my sentiment. So I'm going to use the stronger colour for that, because the petal pink is very pale and it might not quite stand out. So I'm just going to stamp it. It's Your Day. There we go. On there. And then I'm going to add that onto an equivalent one cut out of the petal pink as well. Move my stamps out of the way. And that just creates our little layer. Now, while those are, I'm going to add my, I'm going to say while those are drying, but I haven't actually added my leaf to the top of my peach yet. So I'm going to do that now. So I've just added a dab of glue to the bottom of the stem and to the bottom edge of the leaf. So pop that to one side to dry. Now, the really easy bit about this stamping, all I'm going to do now is score this at 9.5 and at 22 centimetres, 3 3/4 and 8 1/4. So 9.5 and at 22. And then the panel I'm actually going to cut at 5.5 centimetres. So you want this is the section to go underneath. So you've got two pieces. And actually I made that too short. Okay, so in fact I will adjust those measurements, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, so that's 5, so if that's 5.5, so what I'll do is on my blog I will put, because I didn't trim that to 28, that's why. Aha. So just trim that. There we go. That then fits. So if you trim it to the 28 centimetres, it will then fit. Right. So the last little bit that you need to do, I'm using the fine red tape. You either need to use fine red tape or add a very thin layer of glue and leave it to set really well. Fine tip glue works, but I do find the tape is good because it does at least give a tiny little bit of lift to create a pocket. So what you're going to do is take that off. I usually add the card in at this point because it will just fit, you'll see, between those two. But by adding it in, you can then squeeze it and it will just create, you can see the tiniest little bit of a pocket there. Now you can go ahead and add your layers, having cut it to the right length. So having told you to cut it at 28, I'd obviously completely forgotten to do mine. So all I'm going to do is pop that on there. Create a layer. Now obviously if you wanted to, you could easily add an extra layer of contrast card as well onto this. But you don't have to. And I think it's quite nice because actually it's small enough and neat enough that someone could keep this as well in their handbag until they came to actually use it as well. Because I think sometimes some of the the big cards. So then I'm going to cut probably about 18 inches of ribbon. So just kind of work out how much ribbon you're going to need. So I'm never very precise with my ribbon measurements. I would tend to cut long rather than short because you're always going to you can always trim the ends off, but you can't add more on. There's nothing more frustrating. And I don't tie that too tightly. You don't want it to be so tight that it can't be taken off and put back on again. So just snip that off. Then all that's left to do is to add my peach to the one side and my layer to the other, which is just a simple case of popping some dimensionals on. So on the peach, we're wanting that to sort of come 2/3 of the way over, so I'm just going to pop my dimensional where I want it, and because it's on a sort of almost like that on an edge, I want to make sure it's really firmly in place. So sort of 3 dimensionals, and then on the reverse of this I'm going to use my mini dimensionals, and again you want to leave a little bit, so I'm not coming right down to the edge, so I'm adding 3 quite close to the end there. I'm going to add that, I've taken one off and just pop it in a little closer. I've got a little, having taken it off, I've got a little piece of card lifting up, which would be no good whatsoever. So just take those off, those dimensional backs, and line that up so you can see where the dimensionals are. That acts as a little latch, and then the peach will just sit on the front edge there as well. So there we have a pair of pretty gift card holders ready to be gifted, that just hold closed even when you take the ribbon off, but that's just a little addition. This one is much more decorated. I've added extra flowers. This one I've kept it really clean and simple, and I've just mixed up the colours a bit with some soft succulent, petal pink and calypso coral, and on this one pale papaya and calypso coral as well. So thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, and click on the links below if you'd like to purchase any of the products you've seen today, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see what I'm up to next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.